Hi everyone, Maxine here with Tink and I Treasures. Welcome back to my studio. Today I had a thought of doing some clusters using buttons. And I don't know if you've had this happen where when I first started doing this, I bought supplies that I thought would be cool and ended up they're not. So I have these buttons that have all these colors and patterns and what have you. I would never use. I would never use these. And I have quite a few of them. So what I thought was, okay, before I make the clusters, I'm going to do something with these buttons so they're more usable. So what I've done is I'm decoupaging papers that I use a lot onto these buttons. So I'll show you. So I take some Mod Podge, just regular Mod Podge. This is matte finish. And I take a button and I put a layer of Mod Podge on, right? And then I take some paper that I like using. It can be anything. These are strips that I guess they came in a kit and they're meant to be like washi tape type strips. And I thought, oh, that would be cool. So I just stick the paper on like that and set it aside and let it dry. And we can do another one here. So even though we make a mistake with a purchase, we can always fix it, right? Okay, and here's another paper that I would use in my decorating. So I'm just going to stick that right on. There, see? You just stick that on and set that aside to dry. And that's what you do. Then close that jar. Then, okay, so these have been drying. And you take an emery board, which we all have, I'm sure. You don't have to go out and buy a special sandpaper block. Although if you have those would work well too. But yeah, just a cheap everyday emery board, and you just go around the edge and just keep sanding down until that paper falls off. You want to make sure that the paper comes off and you're not tearing it, because you could tear into where, you know, it's covering the button. And then I like to go along the edge and fine tune, as it were. I have found that the buttons that have the circular edge is a little bit easier than some of these others that, like this one that looks like a flower edge. That one's not too bad. This one that has this rotary type, that one's a bit more difficult to, you know, sand down and have it look good. So there we have it. So yeah, you just sand down the edges. And there's that. So all these, here's one that I put on paper where the flowers were. So we'll just do this. Oh, I hope I was in frame. Oh boy. So hope everyone is having a good week and staying warm and healthy. Yesterday it was bright and sunny. Today it's rainy. What are you gonna do, right? I just hope and pray that we get through the winter without any power cuts. Last winter, last February, we had a horrible ice storm, like a once in 50 year type ice storm. And we lost power for 7 days. And it was exhausting, and it was horrible. And by the time, you know, and the electric company kept saying, you know, we'll have power restored in 3 hours. We'll have power restored in 6 hours. We'll have power restored, you know, and it just kept going on and on like that. And by the time we realized they're lying, every hotel was full, or, you know, around us. So we just, you know, hunkered down. Now, you got to understand that we're a couple of Egypts. And we didn't realize until several days had passed that we could actually open the garage door without electricity. We could manually open the garage door. So once we figured that out, we were like, woohoo, you know. And once the roads were clear and the ice was gone, even though we were still out of electricity, but we could get out and we could drive. And oh my goodness, the lines for McDonald's were like 45 minutes. I mean, cars were lined up, snaked around the parking lot, snaked down the streets. Oh, it was just crazy. But you know what? I didn't mind. I didn't mind at all, because we were in a warm car. I was able to charge my phone. And yeah, I didn't mind at all, because sitting in a warm car was preferable to sitting in a cold house. And I don't know, it just seemed to me like the house inside was colder than the temperature outside. It just felt much colder. I know one afternoon it was sunny and the car was in the driveway rather than the garage because, well, we just got tired of manually opening and closing this garage door. So we left the car out. And I sat in the car and actually napped because it was a sunny day and the sun was coming through the window and it was so nice and toasty in the car. And I just sat in the car and I just slept. I put the seat back a little bit and yeah, I just stayed in there. But oh, you know, it was a trial. And we could eat because we have gas stove. We couldn't use the stove because we had no idea. It's a covered you know, it's a covered, so I don't know how you would light the stove and get it going. But we could light the burners on top and get them going, so we could eat, you know, soups, you know, we could cook it, just about anything, really. So we were okay there. We tried to stay out of the fridge and freezer as much as possible because, you know, I was worried because we had, of course, we had just gone shopping. So we had a full freezer, which ultimately saved the food because the freezer was so full that the frozen food kept itself cold. You know what I mean? So all that frozen food in there, and we had like big things of chicken thighs, you know, those really big packages of chicken thighs. Well, that's quite a hunk. And when that is frozen, it is, you know, a solid piece of ice, really. And so, you know, it just helped because we had the freezer so full. It helped keeping everything frozen. So we didn't lose anything out of the freezer for 7 days. We did toss some things from the refrigerator, you know, like milk, you know, stuff like that. We tossed, but we didn't lose a lot, which I was thankful for. So because we have the gas stove, we could eat, but you know, we had no heat, no source, and we have gas heat. But the phenomenon there is that a gas furnace needs electricity to run the fan. I don't know. So that is disappointing. When you have gas heat, you'd think you should be able to have heat, you know? Anyway, so that ordeal really, you know, it was miserable, and I live in fear of doing that again. So I am happy to see the backside of February. Once we get into March, I don't believe we're going to, you know, have that as a possibility of happening, although you never know. Especially these days, right? The weather has changed so much. I mean, last summer in Oregon, you know, few houses even have air conditioning because it was never a thing in Oregon to need air conditioning. And last summer we had temperatures of, golly, what was it? 113, 116, somewhere in there. And I'm like, that's Death Valley temperatures, for heaven's sakes. That's not Oregon. So, yeah, I mean, nowadays I wouldn't think of buying a house that didn't have air conditioning, you know, where I had never thought about that before. Okay, so as you watched me do some of those, you know, you just, yeah, sand them down and look at that. Now that's usable, right? So I am going to take some ink and kind of ink around the sides a little bit. You could use any color ink. You don't have to use, you know, vintage photo, which we all seem to use quite a bit. You could use any color. I mean, if you got a color that works better with the paper you've used, then, you know, by all means, it doesn't have to be vintage. I like Vintage Photo, and I like Ground Espresso. Those are my two favorites. There. Yeah, that just, you know, it's like a finishing touch, I guess, on it. Just makes it better. You know, look at that. Isn't that pretty? I think that's really pretty. This one is one of those spoke type edges. With all the little teeth type of thing. Okay, so, yeah. Isn't that pretty? I like that, how that turned out. Okay, now, I was thinking, I'll get some of these up here. There we go. So now I was thinking, what if we applied a little bit of something, something. So I have some glossy accents. And I have some clear gesso. What else do we have? Distress. Large, medium. I don't know about other things. So we'll just see how this works. I've forgotten I had these. I have these little Tim Holtz brushes. I kind of forgot I had them. Do you do that? I mean, you have so much. And, you know, I have to stash things here, there, and everywhere. I don't have a lot of space. So sometimes things just get hidden, you know. Nothing, you know, everything can't be right within reach and visible, you know. Okay. Come on. Oh, there we go. Let's do a couple with this. As you can see, I just have this little bottle, so I don't work with clear gesso very much. I thought I had ordered some from Amazon, and when it came, it was white gesso. I'd swear up and down it said clear, but so yeah, just spread that. You doing these little tiny things. Oops. Clean that up. Okay, so clean off my brush a little bit here. Now, I'm not sure on the glossy accents if you're supposed to even touch it with a brush. Does anyone know? Okay, every time I use this, it's always plugged up. Oh, there we go. The hole is so small, it's hard to see. So, let's see how that does. Oh, come, oh, here we go. Here we go. So, I don't know. I'm just going to kind of smooch it around here. Technical terms. And see what that does. Sometimes this stuff dries really, really nice, and other times I'm not at all happy with it. So, I don't know that you want to take a brush to it. Anyone know? Let me know in the comments, okay? Whether you can use a brush with glossy accents. I mean, I just don't know how that would work in the final results. Whether it would, you know, change the final results or not. I'm not sure. Looks like I missed a spot there. Sometimes you can see where you have an issue and other times you just can't. There we go. Okay, now we're going to do this again. I wonder if I can put that on with that. Of course, that needle might, that one might rust. I'm not sure. I never know which one's going to rust until they actually do it. So we cleaned out the nozzle and put the lid back on, and we'll see if that helps at all next time. So, yeah, we've got a couple here with the clear gesso and 3 of them with the Mod Podge, or the glossy accents. And, yeah, we'll just see how those turn out. And in the next video, we're going to use these buttons once I have them all coated and pretty. We're going to use these buttons to do some clusters, fabric clusters, I think. So, until then, thank you for joining me. Please leave comments, please like, and if you haven't subscribed, I would love for you to join us in this journey of all things junk journals. So, join me next time. Until then, take care of you, love each other, and I'll see you again. Bye.